Davide here. Who else, if not you, impertinent collector, keeping you entertained, video after video. Oh my gosh. Trust me, it's tough to be a YouTuber when you're doing everything by yourself, such as filming, editing, working on multiple ideas, and all that while managing so many other activities in my daily life. I do happen to have a job. And look at me. Here I am, and you know what to do. Is it too much to ask to like, subscribe, and leave me a comment? Seriously, guy, I ask you multiple times during each video. But you can go further. Yes, you can go further. Supporting my effort, buy me a coffee, clicking on the link on my profile, or purchasing one of my t-shirts, showering me with love, and proudly displaying your unwavering support. And now, back to more pressing business. Yes, today I'm taking the unusual step of standing up for a very controversial figure. Yes, because I feel that for too long somebody has been subjected to a bad press and a foul mouth. In fact, the global campaign against this very public figure, in my opinion, has all the hallmarks of bullying. And no, I'm not talking about Donald Trump, a self-made billionaire turned international statement that I'm sure fully deserves all the love and admiration of the Christian fundamentalists, the guns aficionados, the true believers in law and order, and let's not forget the super rich, who benefit tremendously out of these terrific tax policies. Hey guys, let's not judge. Somehow, I feel that they truly deserve each other. Here and now, I'm aiming higher. And, if possible, lower. How low? Lower. Much lower. Because today's video is nothing more than a not so timid attempt to rehabilitate a much hated figurehead, a universal character that is at the center of our human experience. A wonderfully controversial symbol of guilt, remorse, and shame for the wrongful actions of our lives that, in all frankness, we would have not committed if it wasn't for his unlawful influence. Yes, of course, I'm talking about Satan himself. And so I start with sharing with you the conflicting nature of my early direct experience of what is it like to be a lively child prone to practical jokes and being publicly called, "You little devil." Yes, under the incredible care of the Catholic nuns of Santa Dorothea during the happy days of my primary schooling I was forced to reconcile the contrasting reality of regularly being called Baby Jesus, if I might say so, thanks to my delightful looks and irresistible disposition, whilst occasionally being hit on the back of my head, using the hand carrying a heavy gold ring with the effigies of Jesus Christ on the cross. And for the record, there was no doubt that in few rare occasions I might have deserved a reprimand, if not a slap on the face. But to these days, honestly, I saw that rotating the image of Christ towards the palm of the hand to inflict maximum pain, maybe, just maybe, was unwarranted. Oh, how much I love my nuns when they were not eating me. And so let's assume for a moment that I was the head of the PR agency tasked with improving the public perception of Satan. Okay, that's not a bad job, I suppose. I will start with highlighting his strengths. After all, this is a charismatic figure, and without doubt, the best salesman who ever lived. Hey guys, he sold Adam and Eve an apple from a tree that was already theirs in exchange of paradise. Okay. Technically, he didn't get paradise for himself at the end of the bargain. But for sure, Adam and Eve screwed up big times. And nevertheless, the upside to this evil deed is that as long as you believe in one God, like myself, we can now all blame Adam and Eve for having to toil the earth. Mind you, in my case, I hit closer to home, blaming my parents for not have made enough money to grant me a life of pleasure, free from the heavy chains of having to work for a living. How dreadful to discover, months after months, that I have bills to pay. That devastating feeling looking at your credit card statement when you realize that you have to wait another month before you can replenish your Antica formula, my favorite sweet vermouth for the ultimate Manhattan cocktail. Maybe I get the chance to do one for you guys when we finally meet. Also, on the side of Satan, there is irrefutable evidence that prior to be cast out from paradise, he was an angel himself. So somehow, somewhere, there must be some redeeming qualities of this possibly misunderstood character. Yeah, I'm just asking. So, let's admit that we all look deep into our soul. We can all sympathize with a fallen angel. We ourselves, exposed to the upside down of life, should be able to recognize the struggle of wanting redemption against the wrong decision we made. And yes, it's true. I work in diamonds, I work in jewellery, I work in fashion. It's true. But you know what? Even in those highly artistic environments, the artist within sits within the boundaries of what a business allows him to say and to do. But here with you, I am the Impertinent Collector. And this is what comes out of it, day after day in my head and week after week on YouTube. Support the artist within. Support the Impertinent Collector. That's you, that's me, that's us. This world belongs to us. And now, for argument's sake, let's try to spin something negative into something positive. And yes, because I think that I'm sure we can all agree that Satan himself was Prince Charming personified. What? You're not convinced? Is it not the character that for the very first time introduced the concept of temptation? Yes, let's admit that while we are all familiar with the punishment that awaits us in hell, sorry guys, not me, of course, your impertinent collector. But nobody has ever come back to let us know how boring heaven might be. In fact, no matter how exquisite heaven can possibly be, picture yourself perpetually trapped in a 10 stars Maldives-style resort. Perfect weather, warm and transparent waters, your private pool and spa, a selection of masseurs of your choice constantly available for, shall we call them, therapies, a private chef, and to top it all, the common facilities shared among the purest of residents, angels, saints, heroes, believers, and converted. Okay, in general, no matter the topic, I find these last two categories terribly annoying. The believers and the converted. And so ask yourself, would you be able to play poker and go all in with a pair of six and win the biggest spot of the night, bluffing against the Archangel Michael, St. Francis of Assisi, Mother Teresa of Calcutta, and Pope Emeritus Benedict XVI? This is my personal take about heaven. If you want to kill me, send me to an endless holiday with unlimited credit. And if you want to torture me, send me on that very holiday in the company of my beloved parents, my sister, my nephew, my niece, my brother-in-law, my uncles and aunties and my cousin, all bundled together in a luxury but small cruise ship around the world forever. If you ask me, temptation is the ultimate gift for humanity. And while nowadays somehow it acquired a negative connotation, well, in certain cases temptation implies a genuine offer that carries the potential to improve your current status. And once again, let's be honest, guys. It's hard to fail to recognize that the wicked bargain of Dr. Faust and Dorian Gray somehow has a certain appeal. And so, I have a question for you all. Is it not within our nature the kernel of wanting more, of wanting better, being recognized as someone of superior wisdom, successful, amazingly intelligent, both rich and generous, kind with the unfortunate, just with the powerful, severe with the few, and funny with the most? We have to give credit where credit is due. And so, is it possible that Satan represents the very human desire to uncover the unknown, rather than blindly accepting the cause that we have received in life, and thankfully acknowledging the magnificent grace of our all-powerful rulers? Maybe it's time to recognize that Dante, while being an amazing poet, was also sexually and emotionally frustrated. And that's the reason why in his divine comedy we all get a sense that he plays in hell all the people who in life had more success and certainly more fun than him. No wonder why Beatrice thought he was a loser, and she never casted a mildly interested eye on him. Oh, poor Dante, you turn your life's sufferings into a punishment for millions of students, very much like myself. Satan also has an important role in the art history, and more often than not, is not exactly depicted entirely evil. And once again, for the record, I'm not a follower of Satan, nor his apologist. I'm just a not so gullible Catholic, whom without the intellect, the intuition, and the conviction of great characters such as Galileo Galilei, Giordano Bruno, and Joan d'Arc, is just desperately trying to have a good time without harming or taking advantage of others. But as a collector, I've always found myself intrigued by the aesthetic depiction of Satan. And as it happens, in 3 different occasions, I was able to add Satan himself to my collection of Madonna, saints, gods, demons, soldiers, virgins, noblemen, knights, ladies in waiting, and promiscuous sailors. And so, like one would do with rockets, I called them my free Satan. And between you and me, I'm very fond of them, because it seems to me that through the centuries the satanic iconography have shifted from one of malignant evil character to someone somehow cheeky that might have a point after all. And so, let's begin with Satan 1, an incredible depiction of an archangel defeating Satan in a precious engraving made most likely around 1650. Whilst not Jewish, I can definitely tell that this imagery is tinted with a strong sense of anti-Semitism, to the point that the type of face used for Satan would become the archetype of the anti-Semitic Nazi propaganda 300 years later. In a perverse way, it adds a more sinister tone to an already highly publicized war that back in the 15th century the Catholic Church had been fighting for years on multiple fronts against Lutheranism and all sorts of heresy, but also against science and the emergence of an independent printing press that was producing not only the Bible in huge numbers, but also all sorts of publication for a growing minority of citizens who were no longer illiterate. So if you think that today we live in a highly polarized period, remember that in those years, disputing the creation of earth in 7 days, like described in the book of Genesis, was considered satanic. Arguing that the sun and not the earth was at the center of our galaxy was satanic. Picking up herbs in the forest and make medicinal compounds was satanic, and even owning a cat was deemed satanic. It was a time where, according to the Catholic Church, heretics, witches, satanic worshippers, and Satan-possessed individuals were everywhere. Now, let's say hello to Satan number 2, who somehow is halfway through a remarkable transformation, and here appears to be way more mundane. This print is part of the 1866 illustration by a French artist by the name of Gustave Doré, whose engraving helped to popularize, among others, famous books like The Divine Comedy, Don Quixote de la Mancha, Romeo and Juliet, and in my case, The Paradise Lost by Milton. And here, in this my wonderfully engraved Satan Blessé, the angel Satan, once again defeated, by this time by a naked and slightly feminine archangel, in a composition where the religious themes seems to have been dropped, and where the imagery is more akin of a whole male orgy gone wrong. Well, after all, it seems that Satan himself, after the debacle of Eve and the apple, had a penchant for tempting men rather than women. And finally, for Satan free, please meet one of my favorite and most hilarious collectible devils. Bought in a flea market in Budapest in the 1990s, soon after the collapse of the Berlin Wall, this beloved item is simply too funny to be considered blasphemous. The ingenuity and the humor of the artist, who in the 1930s sew it together, is remarkable. With just white and red threads against the black background, the composition is both insolent and charming. Not bad. Let's face it, who could resist the appeal of a tuxedo-dressed Satan looking in your direction with his monocle? And so, once again, we have come to the conclusion of this week's video. But there's always a but somewhere. If you ask me, in a stormy sea of intolerance and conflicting ideologies, safe harbor is often available in food, art, and humor in the face of extinction. And so for now, as I bid you farewell, I invite you to support me, even with the smallest of actions. A like to this video. And in the company of my tuxedo Satanello is goodbye.